Setting goals is one of the most important parts in the life of a Muslim because it is the difference between whether you end up in Jannah or Jahannam. Ever since I started practicing Islam 8 years ago, I've been relentlessly setting goals for myself to better myself as a Muslim. So in this video, I want to teach you 3 steps on how you can achieve any goal, no matter how hard it is and no matter what it is. Let's first discuss the importance of achieving goals as a Muslim. Allah said in the Quran in Surah Al-A'raf, وَالْوَزْنُ يَوْمَئِذٍ الْحَقِّ فمن ثقلت موازينه فأولئك هم المفلحون ومن خفت موازينه فأولئك الذين خسروا أنفسهم بما كانوا بآياتنا يظلمون. And the weighing of deeds that day will be the truth. So those whose scales are heavy, it is those who will be successful. And those whose scales are light, they are the ones who will lose themselves for what injustice they were doing towards our verses. Allah describes the successful as those whose scales are heavy with good deeds. And Allah describes the losers as those whose scales are light. So if you want your scales to be heavy, then you have to come with righteous deeds. And the best way to attain a lot of righteous deeds is to set for yourself lofty goals. The first time I was inspired to set goals for myself was when I was 15 years old in grade 9. That's around the time when I started practicing Islam, and I noticed that I needed to learn more in order to become a better Muslim. So I started watching a lot of Islamic lectures and classes, and I was so inspired by the fact that they encouraged people to memorize the Quran and learn Arabic. I initially thought that Hifz was only for a select group of people or those who started when they were young, but the speakers I was listening to made it sound so easy to do, which made me very confident in the fact that I could also memorize the Quran. So I started my Hifz and Arabic learning journey, and I found it very easy at the start because of all the zeal and excitement I had. And I really got to notice at first hand how easy Hifz actually is if someone really wants to do it. All our lives, we're under the impression that Hifz is difficult and not suitable for most Muslims. But I tell you, as someone who has memorized the Quran, that is totally false and in fact a trick of shaitan. Now going back to setting goals, you might be thinking, what kind of goals do I need to set for myself? The answer is to set goals that will get you closer to Allah and not to set goals related to the dunya. You need to set goals that relate to Islamic knowledge and righteous actions, such as memorizing the Quran, learning Arabic, learning Islamic sciences, building a charity, etc. Any goal that does not benefit you in your deen is not worth pursuing at all. But if the goal helps you to worship Allah, such as making an income so you can be free and seek knowledge, then that is also a praiseworthy goal to achieve, as long as you maintain that intention. So let's get into the 3 steps on how you can achieve any goal. The first step is to define why you want to achieve this goal. Intentions are the foundation of every single action you take. There isn't a single action you do except there's a reason as to why you are doing it. Many people pursue goals just because their parents or society tells them to do it. A perfect example is parents forcing their kids to memorize the Quran. Although it is a good effort, many parents neglect teaching their kids as to why they need to memorize the Quran. It gets to the point where you can ask any of these kids as to why they're memorizing the Quran, and they'll simply tell you, because my parents told me to do so. So this forcing doesn't bring about a true intention that will result in lasting progress. In fact, many kids who went through this end up forgetting the Quran when they grow up. It's because they never had a single good reason in their mind to maintain the Quran. So you need to define the reason why you want to achieve this goal. If it's memorizing the Quran, then ask yourself, why am I doing it? Is it so I can be called a Hafidh amongst people? Is it because my parents told me to do so? Or is it for the sake of Allah and seeking His reward? And being sincere is not as hard as people think. If you understand the fact that the praise of the people does not matter, and that on the Day of Judgment, the only one who is capable of rewarding you is Allah, you would only want to please Allah, because the people don't benefit you in anything other than a fleeting pleasure in this world. And then in the Akhirah, as it says in the Hadith Qudsi, go to those for whom you made a show in this world and look, do you find any reward with them? So you have to internalize this in yourself, that you are trying to attain these goals so you can save yourself in the Akhirah. So you can save yourself from the punishment of Jahannam and enter Jannah in peace. Before we get more into the video, if you're struggling to memorize the Quran and you've been trying for many years and years and you just can't find a method that works, you might want to hear me out. I'm offering one-on-one coaching sessions where I take you through a proven memorization system so that you can make lasting progress in your Hifz. I will teach you the science behind Hifz, memorization methods, revision techniques, memory science, tajweed, and more. And I'll keep you fully accountable such that you don't neglect memorizing and revising every single day. If that sounds like something that would benefit you, sign up to the first link in the description below and I'll see you there. Moving on to the second step, which is to develop a consistent learning habit. With every goal, you always want to learn from those who have achieved it. Whether that be through asking questions, reading books, watching videos, the point is you always want to learn. If you try to learn by yourself, you'll end up making a lot of mistakes and regretting it later. If someone has already treaded the path, then there's no problem in learning from them. This is how learning has been done since the time of Adam. So let's say you want to memorize the Quran. I'm telling you, as someone who has already memorized it, you definitely need someone to explain to you how memorization works. I meet many brothers who've been trying to memorize for years and years, and they never make any real progress because they don't want to learn from others. They keep trying the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. The best way to learn how to achieve a goal is to have a mentor who teaches you one-on-one. If that's not possible, you can learn by reading books and watching videos. The point is, try to learn directly from those who have memorized the Quran. I've seen in my life how important it is to learn from experts in their field. When I was learning Arabic, I found Arabic grammar really hard to understand. I struggled understanding the basic book in Arabic grammar, which is Ajrumiyya. I listened to durus on it, I took notes, but I never got a sufficient understanding until I asked one of my teachers to teach me the book. And because of those sessions, for the first time, I understood Arabic grammar. And it was as simple as learning directly from those who have treaded the path before you. If I remained stubborn and didn't want to learn from my teacher, I would have delayed my progress for years probably. So don't overlook the effect a mentor can have on your learning. It will change your entire perspective on the goal you're trying to achieve. Moving on to the third step, which is to develop a consistent habit of working towards your goal. Now that you have the correct intention to achieve the goal and you're learning about it, now you need to get to work. You need to spend time daily towards achieving your goal. It must be at the same time and the same amount of time. For example, if you're memorizing the Quran, you should set a time such as 2 p.m. for 15 minutes. If you're able to be consistent on that every day, then you will finish your Hifdh eventually. But the next problem comes, which is that you can't be spending only 15 minutes daily until you finish your Hifdh. Otherwise, it will take many years. So you need to increase this time. And doing this is very simple. Start off by spending 15 minutes on memorization for 2 weeks straight. And after the 2 weeks, increase it to 25 minutes. And after those 2 weeks, increase it to 35 minutes and so on. And don't increase your amount of time until you've done it for 2 weeks every single day without fail and you've gotten used to it. And be sure to track down every single day whether you've done it or not. And you can keep increasing this time until you reach, for example, 1 hour or any time that you feel comfortable staying at. That could be 45 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, 2 hours, etc. Now this step is neglected by most people. They try to start off by memorizing for 1 hour straight when they haven't trained themselves to even do 15 minutes. So they often go through burnout because they force themselves to do too much. So you need to work your way up to 1 hour by starting small. This is just how life works. We all start somewhere. You don't expect a child to memorize 1 page daily when they're just starting off to learn the Arabic alphabets. Rather, you slowly build them up to that stage. So first they start by learning the alphabets, then learning how to read, and then learning how to memorize. So the same principle applies to you. Don't think you can spend 1 hour when you haven't even spent 15 minutes daily. I can't tell you how many times I've gone through burnout because of trying to do this. And whenever I started small and slowly increased it, I always made lasting progress. When I used to do my revision, I would force myself to do 2 juz daily. I maintained it for a long time, but eventually I got burnt out and it reduced to 1 juz or 1.5 juz. So then I made myself start to get used to doing 1 juz and a half and then slowly increased it every 2 weeks. And that's how I managed to review 2.5 juz to this day. So start off small and don't think you can spend hours and hours because you will go through burnout. So wrapping up this video, I want you to keep these 3 steps in mind. Number 1, your intention. Number 2, develop a learning habit. And number 3, develop a small consistent habit and increase it over time. Any goal you have, these 3 steps will be the foundation in achieving that goal. So be sure to implement them. If you benefited from the video, be sure to like and subscribe and I'll see you later. Wassalamu alaikum.